It's been one thing after another for the Penguins this season. Jari played well, but the offense disappeared. P.O. Joseph looked good in his return in black and gold, but his defensive partner, not so much. And a young player that has been a true spark for the Pens, injured. Another Metropolitan Division loss for the Pittsburgh Penguins, and we're going to break it down on this episode of Penguins Digest. Thank you guys for joining me here today, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel for more Pittsburgh Penguins content. Let's jump right into it and talk about a new season low in shots on goal for the Penguins. Their offensive output was nada, nothing, gone, zero, non-existent. I mean, I can't. How do you get 12 shots on goal in an NHL game? I got nothing. I'll be honest with you guys, I got nothing. The Penguins managed to shoot the puck on goal 12 times in 60 minutes. Last night against the Devils. In the first period, neither team was getting pucks on net. The shots after one period were like 5-4, so I wasn't expecting a slugfest, even though New Jersey does have one of the best offenses in the National Hockey League. The Penguins were tit for tat with them. There wasn't a whole lot going on either side. A lot of battles in the neutral zone, a lot of defensive hockey, a lot of block shots, and just a whole lot of turnovers. But as the game went on, the Devils started to assert themselves, show why they are clearly the better team, and it showed in every phase. Special teams showed up for the Devils. Goaltending showed up for the Devils in big spots where the Penguins probably should have scored and just weren't able to squeak one by Jacob Markstrom, who's been very rock solid for the Devils this season. I can't say enough about what Markstrom has done for New Jersey. He was exactly the goaltender this team needed to turn around from last season where they were wildly disappointing. This is one of the most talented rosters in the NHL. So losing to a team like the Devils isn't what I'm worried about. What I'm worried about is how we lost to the New Jersey Devils and how we managed 12 shots on goal in a 60-minute hockey game. And we're going to talk about Tristan Jarry in a little bit, but first, let's just look at the box score. What can we find here that speaks to us? And to me, the shots on goal is the first thing that jumps off the page for me. We weren't able to generate any offense. Not one player was able to produce a point because you got shut out. But the reason you got shut out is because you can only get 12 shots on goal. I mean, this is a team that does give up goals, and the Penguins, they did not score any. So it's continuing to struggle against these Metropolitan Division opponents, and this is going to be a serious issue down the stretch if the Penguins can't win these divisional games, because that's what it's going to come down to. Can you win divisional games? And the Penguins have not been able to do that. They have one win against the Metropolitan Division this season, and it has just been disaster after disaster for the Pens. And to make matters even worse, we have an injury that we have to discuss on this episode of Penguins Digest as well. Something that could have some very big repercussions for the Pens, losing one of their most effective players on the defensive side. But again, look at this stat. The defensive side does not seem to be an issue. You're only allowing 3 goals. One of them's an empty netter. So the problem isn't defense in this particular game, and the problem isn't goaltending. I still have something I want to say about the defense, but for the most part, the defense was better than they had been in games past. It's the offense that failed to generate anything other than a couple of opportunities that were nullified by Jacob Markstrom, the brick wall in net for New Jersey. But you can see by the stats, I mean, there's nothing notable in this box score. That's really the notable thing about the box score, is that there's nothing notable in the box score. So that's enough of that, obviously. We don't want to keep harping on it, but the Penguins, just didn't bring their best game last night, lost in New Jersey. Again, a better team, so I'm not mad that they lost. I'm mad about how they lost. They lost 3-0 and generated 12 shots on goal. That can't happen. In an NHL game, that cannot happen. It's inexcusable, and let's just move on to the next topic, which is the power play has not done enough for the Pens this season, especially recently. The last 10 games, they had a couple good games on the power play, but mostly bad. They're getting plenty of opportunities. Every game, they're getting at least 2 chances on the power play, and more often than not, they're not scoring on those opportunities. So they're being given the opportunities. They're drawing penalties. They're getting on the man advantage, and then they're not converting these opportunities. So if you look at the power play opportunities by game since November 30th, that was when they had 5 opportunities against the Calgary Flames, potted 3 power play goals en route to a 6-2 victory. But since then, it's been a different story. Florida, they go 0 for 1 on the power play. Against New York, they go 0 for 4 and lose the game. Then against Toronto, they go 2 for 5. That's the reason they beat the Toronto Maple Leafs, 5-2. Then Colorado, they go 0 for 4 they lose that game. There's a correlation here, guys. 9-2 win over the Montreal Canadiens because they went 2 for 3 on the power play. That's not why they won, but it helped spark them and then had that big third period. Against Ottawa, they went 0 for 0, so no power play opportunities, and you lose in overtime. So you didn't get any power play opportunities against the Senators. And then 0 for 3 against the Kings, still managed to win that game. Now, there were a lot of other reasons they won that game. And then 1 for 3 against Nashville, were able to win that one. And then 0 for 2 against New Jersey, got shut out by Jacob Markstrom. So there is a correlation in the games where they're not able to get a power play goal or at least generate something on the power play. They lose those games. So being on the power play is a huge advantage in the NHL. Usually 5-on-5 is pretty balanced for the most part, unless you're one of those elite tier teams, which the Penguins are definitely not. So those man advantages where you get an opportunity to put Sid and Gino and Tanger and EK and all those guys out there to try to generate some offense, you got to take advantage. You got to cash in on those opportunities. You get the opportunities because you work hard. Okay, you keep moving your feet. You draw a penalty, right? You're in the right spot at the right time. You draw a penalty. So the New York Rangers, last year they won the President's Trophy. Do you want to know what they did better than any other team, even though they weren't that good in 5-on-5? Special teams. Their power play was among the best of the best in the National Hockey League, and they really took advantage of every opportunity they got, which is why they won the President's Trophy. They were able to win games just because of how good their power play was with Artemi Panarin, Mika Zibanejad, and Adam Fox, right? And Chris Kreider. But you look at what they've done this year, it's starting to show. If you don't get those power play opportunities, your power play is not clicking on all cylinders, you don't win hockey games, right? The Penguins are actually doing better than the Rangers this season. As bad as the Penguins started out, being hot lately pushed them ahead of the Rangers in the standings, and that's a team that was the best team in the NHL last year. So power play is a very significant part of the game, and it's something that you have to have going for you if you want to win hockey games. And the Penguins have not had a good power play, especially lately. And I just want to see more. I want to see better puck movement. I want to see taking shots. I saw yesterday on the one power play, they did generate a couple of nice opportunities. All right, Erik Karlsson got a shot on goal. Cody Glass got a shot on goal. They were taking the lane that they were given, and they're putting the puck on net. That's 2 of the 12 shots on goal that they got was on that power play within a 15-second span. Power plays can be a momentum swing one way or another. If you fail, the other team gets the momentum because they kill a penalty. You score, that could be that spark that your team needs in order to keep scoring goals, in order to keep generating offensive opportunities. For the New Jersey Devils, they're up 1-0 at that point. They kill a penalty, they get all the momentum, and then next thing you know, the ice is tilted. And then they never look back. Obviously, the empty netter goal, I don't even need to count, so it's essentially a 2-0 hockey game. A late goal in the second period to be the first goal of the entire game, those are backbreakers. First 2 minutes, last 2 minutes of a period, you can't give up a goal. If anything, you got to score a goal because it's that change in the tide moving into the next period. You get scored on the last 2 minutes, you go in the locker room thinking, oh man, we just blew that. And then you're out of it for the rest of the game. And it showed for the Penguins, those back-breaking goals, and it happened here again. They're in a 0-0 game with no room for error. The margin of victory is right here. And then you make one mistake, and then bang. Just like that, you're out of the game. So those power plays are a huge momentum shift. You have to take advantage of those opportunities or at least generate some offense so that you can swing your momentum in your favor and try to win a hockey game. The defense was better without Graves, but Ryan Shea is still a problem. So Graves got scratched last night. P.O. Joseph made his first start as a Penguin. Back on the Penguins. He obviously was a Penguin before, but he had that time in between where he's playing for other teams. Now he's back, and he played his first game, which meant Ryan Graves was pushed out of the lineup. Graves is a liability. Not having Graves was already an advantage for Pittsburgh, but Ryan Shea still played bad. So you have that defensive pairing of Graves and Shea. That is a terrible twosome, a terrible tandem. And now you put P.O. Joseph out there. Now, he was better. He was making plays. He was getting in passing lanes. I liked the way he handled the puck. Some good headman passes. I liked what I saw from P.O. Joseph. Some physicality, good reach. He's a tall guy, so he's got good reach with his stick, able to disrupt. He's a disruptor is what P.O. Joseph is. So I love having him back there. I think he's a great addition to the team. Much better than Graves. I think this opens the door to get rid of Graves. But because of what happened last night, I'm not sure that that is the case anymore. A very bad thing happened last night, and what happened was Owen Pickering got injured. Owen Pickering has been one of the bright spots for the Penguins as of late. 20-year-old defenseman. He'll be 21 in January. He has been playing absurd, way beyond his years in maturity and composure, and he has been a force on the back end for Pittsburgh, sparking this giant run that they've gone on. Him playing alongside Kris Letang has been spectacular, but he got hurt last night. Upper body injury. We're not sure how serious it is. I did some research this morning. Haven't found anything about it. We don't know his status for Philly tomorrow, but Pickering has been great, and losing him is not something the Penguins wanted to have to deal with at this time. They have a lot of other things they need to clean up right now, and now they have another thing to worry about with Owen Pickering being out. That means Graves has to come back in the lineup. Now you're going to have the Graves and Shea pairing together again. That pairing has just been disastrous for Pittsburgh. Obviously, Ryan Shea playing with P.O. Joseph was slightly better because you don't have two really bad defensemen playing together, but P.O. stepping it up, he has to play even better because of how much of a liability Ryan Shea was. There were 2 goals scored last night on Shea. I mean, you got to take a look at how these goals are being scored, and Ryan Shea was even wrestling with the guy in front of the net. He was wrestling with Stefan Nason in front of Jarry, which led to a scrappy goal to put the game away for New Jersey to give him a 2-goal lead. And he was out of position on their first goal. I mean, it's just one thing after another for these Penguins, and you lose Owen Pickering. Shea has to play even more minutes, similar to the last game where guys were getting hurt and these guys were having to play way too many minutes. You're running 4D at sometimes. Pickering goes out, then Grzelcyk gets hurt. Now you're running 4D. Luckily, Grzelcyk came back last night and they were still running 5D, but that's way too much ice time for Ryan Shea. And I said that the game before with Graves and Shea playing way too much. It's become a serious problem for the Penguins, and they're going to have to shore up this back end if they want to make a playoff run. Dubas is going to have to do something. I mean, seriously, this is becoming a serious problem for the Penguins. This defense is not good enough, and Ryan Shea and Ryan Graves have been the reason why, and now we have to deal with both of them again because Pickering's going to miss some time. So it's just not good what I've seen from the Pens. They need to be better on defense. Offense is going to have to be able to get more than 12 shots on goal, and the defense is going to have to be better at keeping guys out of the danger zone, which is something they had not been able to do. And Ryan Shea wrestling with Stefan Nason, which resulted in a goal yesterday for that second goal for New Jersey, pretty much summed up what happened to the Pens yesterday. I'm tired of people blaming Tristan Jarry, though. Tristan Jarry is not the problem. He has been good for the Pens since he came back from his conditioning stint in Wilkes-Barre. I actually love what I'm seeing from Jarry. He was the reason they were still in the game last night. Jars kept him in it. He was making some big saves, and he's not getting enough credit. You can't win a game scoring 0 goals and getting 12 shots on goal. So the fact that people want to blame Tristan Jarry is blasphemy. I mean, this guy is not the problem. Jarry's been great. He's keeping him in the game. Look at the numbers Jarry's putting up. He's had maybe 2 bad games in his last 10. Maybe. They lost one of those. That was the Colorado game. That's a heck of an offense. I am not blaming Jarry for that. Overall, he has been solid. Jarry is not the problem. I'm tired of everybody blaming Jarry. If anything, we need 1 or 2 more defensemen. I thought we needed 1. Maybe we need 2 more defensemen now that Pickering's hurt and Pettersson's hurt. This is just not good. It's detrimental to this Pittsburgh team. They are in a spot where they're winning hockey games, and then all this chaos ensues, and they're losing some of their biggest, most important players. And now you have to deal with 2 guys being out on that left side of the defense with Pettersson and Pickering. That means Graves pretty much has to play. And obviously, I talked about how bad Shea was last night and the game before with Graves and Shea. It's not Jarry's fault. I've seen a lot of things on social media about Jarry being to blame for this loss and Jarry being to blame for a lot of things, but Jarry has been really solid. So stop blaming Tristan Jarry. I would blame the defense if anything, and last night it was clearly the offense more than it was the defense that was able to do literally nothing against New Jersey's full ice press. They were all over Pittsburgh. They really asserted their dominance in that game. That just shows you what the gap is between the best team in the Metropolitan Division and where the Penguins stand. That was a measuring stick game, and the measuring stick told me this team is not close to being a playoff team yet. They need to do a lot more work, and I think the defense is where you have to start. We need to fix the defense. Kyle Dubas needs to bring in at least 1 more defenseman. If you haven't watched my video about which defenseman he could trade for, they're on the block. Go back and watch that video from a few days ago. But overall, I think we're a defenseman away, and with Ryan Graves now having to play more minutes, if Pickering's going to miss time, then we're 2 defensemen away. Jarry's not the problem. Ned's been good as well. The offense was good up until last game. I think it was a fluke that they weren't able to do anything against New Jersey. I'm hoping that doesn't turn into a trend and snowball, only having those 12 shots on goal. Hopefully that's a one-time occurrence and we could just bounce back from that against Philly tomorrow. Let's take it out on the Flyers. Why not? This is the best team to take it out on. our most hated rival, the Philadelphia Flyers. Let's beat them up tomorrow night, and let's get back on track. I'll have the game preview for you guys tomorrow night about the Flyers game. Obviously, another huge Metro contest. One win against the Metropolitan Division this season. It was against the Washington Capitals, and we've lost to everybody else that we've played in the Metro. So this is a huge game for Pittsburgh. Let's get back on track. Back in the win column and back in the win column against the Metropolitan Division. Thank you guys for watching this episode of Penguins Digest. My name is Remington Kuhn, and we'll see you on the next one previewing Pittsburgh versus Philly. Monday Night Clash in Pittsburgh at PPG Paints Arena. We'll see you guys next time.